let's look at some statistics, right? Let's look at some statistics, all right? About 19% of truckers in the U.S. 19% of truckers in the U.S. are immigrants. 19%. All right. Now that could be a big number to some. It can be a small number to others. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median annual wage for truck drivers in 2020 was 47,000. However, many drivers reported earning significantly less, especially when starting out. All right. Immigrant truckers, and this is where I think a lot of people have an issue with immigrant truckers. Often, especially owner operators, are often willing to accept lower wages and tougher working conditions and are seen as contributing to the wage suppression. Now, here's the thing, and this goes into what I always talk about when it comes to business and competition and things of that nature. You can't exclude them as far as the competition. If the government allows them to come in, and here's the thing, I did some research. I'm not an immigrant. I'm not an immigrant, so I don't, certain things I have to go research before I talk about it. I don't, subscribe to, starting businesses and applying for businesses, or if I was an employee applying for a job the way an immigrant would apply for the job because I'm an American, right? So I did a research. I did a Google on can, a green card, a person who holds a green card who's not fully a citizen, but like a permanent resident, right? So a green card, can they apply for a CDL, right? The answer is yes, right? Now, that puts them in the competition pool, right? Now, I know a lot of people hear me talk about migrants, all right? Migrants and immigrants are two different things, right? A migrant is a person who has came over here who's illegal, right? They're illegal. An immigrant is a person who's gone through the proper processes and procedures and paying whatever they need to pay. And this is a long process. It's a lengthy process. And from my understanding, I'm not an immigrant. From my understanding, it can be an expensive process. I don't have an issue with those with immigrants, right? So here's the thing. If a person comes over here legally and they go through the process, even if they're just a permanent resident with a green card and they can apply for a CDL, it puts them in a competition pool. Now, as an American, you have to understand this, and this is business. This goes back to the research part. Now, people say, oh, well, I don't need to do my research. Buddy ass over there talking all this market analysis and this business plan. He don't know because he's not out here. This, da, da, da. None of that shit matters because you got to get out here. Let me explain something to you. This is why you have to understand and do your research. This competitive analysis, this would be a part of it, right?